Mane I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Sly, good morning.
One Randy.
How are things?
Not too good.
Not too good.
You introduced me as Sylvester Mensah.
Okay. This will be the second time.
Yes.
Sylvester Tete.
Right.
Yeah. Sylvester Tete.
It's a very bad morning for me.
Okay.
Parliament.
Right. So, I'm sure you're referring to the reported death of the Honorable Basoah.
Yes, Randy.
MP for Kumawu.
Randy, I don't know how to describe it. Very difficult for me. But this program, I wouldn't have been here. I didn't know him. I know Honorable Basoah from a distance. Parliament. Became a friend. I call him senior. We have a common interest in supporting Alan Chimantin.
Oh.
Yes. So it's a big blow to me. Shared many experiences with me in his constituency. Anybody who knows Honorable Basoah knows that he's a gentleman, very calm persona, man with few words, but quite tactical. He's been under siege after his first term. He's gone through very difficult moment of his political career in an attempt to unseat him.
Is this his second term?
His third term.
His third?
Third term.
Okay.
So he's gone through very turbulent moment. Those from Ashanti region and in this party knows what he had to battle to be where he is today. On Thursday night, when we couldn't reach consensus to take a vote on the president's nominees, around 10 p.m. when Parliament, the Speaker adjourned sitting, I was with him, and we all expressed our disappointment why we couldn't take a vote, especially when we had a full house. We parted ways that, well, let's convey tomorrow, that is Friday. On Friday, I had a program commissioning Divisional Police Command headquarters that was built in Tuba, funded by the District Assembly Common Fund. So I was to commission that project with the Deputy Regional Police Commander, the Municipal Chief, and a host of other chiefs. So in fact, I was late to Parliament. I had a couple of calls. So right after the commissioning, I had to rush to Parliament. When I got to Parliament, you know, when you are whipped for an exercise of that nature, whoever sits next to you, you have to call the person. So Honorable Sheila Bates kept calling me, and I told her I'm on my way. I was having the program. In fact, I had advertised the program, so they knew that I would be a bit late. So by 12 when I got in, then we were like, Honorable Basoah is the only one left on checks around. So he sits close to Honorable Amapoma of New Jobin. She's placed a number of calls and texts to him. No response. Then I reached out to the majority chief whip, and they said what they had gone to his residence and found him in a very unstable condition. So they rushed him to Lekma, and then leadership followed, and he had to be transferred to Uracare for further medical attention. So we were all hopeful that with that processes. But yesterday, I went to Uracare to check up on him, only to be told that he's been moved to an ICU. So I thought that this morning, I even spoke to Chief Whip in the afternoon to find out the state of his health. And he said, well, he's still in a stable condition, so we are praying for him. I woke up this dawn to this sad news. I don't know, but Randy, I can't believe it. It could be anybody. This could be.
So this is somebody who was in Parliament on Thursday, and just take it easy. It's difficult. It's difficult, but just take it easy. On Thursday, and I got to know that he wasn't too well on Friday when, you know, there was a shadow boxing, and everybody was looking at where they had their numbers, you know, and I think the majority leader had informed the speaker that he was on his way, you know, and they kept waiting for him. So my sources in Parliament then told me what had happened to him. And it was quite shocking because on Thursday in Parliament, he didn't appear to be unwell. I mean, he was there, sat through till late night, waiting for the vote. So he was not one of the people who were not expected, you know, to be in there. He was supposed to be actually in there. In fact, on Thursday, it looked like it was rather the minority that had one person less, you know, who then came on Friday. So we heard he wasn't that well. Some details were given, but we're all hoping that, I mean, he would come through it. And I'm even reading that he's 54. 54, you know. And then this early morning we hear that the Honorable Basoah couldn't make it. This life.
Well, Randy, first and foremost, condolences to the family, to his political party, and then to the nation on the whole, because he's a legislator. I have no personal dealings with him, but I know him, and he's quite quiet. As you said, he's not a verbose character, but quite effective, and knows the ins and outs of the political terrain. He's extremely young, 54, and if the news we are getting has anything to do with it being a stroke of sorts, then it comes back to the fore. As a former Minister of Health, non-communicable diseases are on the rise in this country. And we really have to sit up and take note. Lifestyle. When you get to a certain age, you must have certain checkups. Because you see, pressure doesn't give you warning. It's called the silent killer. And it's very easy to forget when you're fine, because actually you don't feel anything. But when it strikes, it can be completely devastating. It either leaves you in partial paralysis or it takes your life. And I really, really, really am saddened by this news. It also means that we start looking once again. We talk about it and then we leave it, but the workload, the hours you people do in Parliament sometimes, when there are issues, serious matters, the times you eat because of
the schedule.
They have a cumulative effect. And this is a third-term politician. So he's been doing this for close to 12 years, if not more, or thereabouts.
About 10 years.
10 years, yeah. So I think it's a wake-up call for all. As we mourn his past and his loss, we should also look at our health status and begin to make sure that we have the regular checkups. Once I believe you've gone past the age of 50, regardless of whether you have it or not, you should have a miniature pressure machine with you. And every morning or every evening, depending on which is suitable for you, you should take your pressure. Because when it's coming, it doesn't tell you. And once you are briefed and you know what parameters you can play with, once you see a difference, you then quickly seek some medical help and try to sleep and rest for at least a week to get everything back to normal. So that's where we are. But it's unfortunate and a big blow to my brother, who knows him personally and has dealt with him personally and is quite upset by the suddenness of it. He should take heart, and no doubt he will be given a befitting burial.
I mean, 54.
Yeah.
That's too young.
Too young. I mean,
too young. Our commiserations to his family, and of course the people of Kumawu as well.
It's the second time, in Kumawu MP. No, second time an MP We had a by-election in Kumawu before, isn't it?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had
a by-election in Kumawu.
Yeah.
So this is the second time they've lost an MP.
Whoa.
I know he's a cousin to Herbert Mensah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's Herbert Mensah's cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where Herbert is from.
Yeah, they're cousins.
Yeah, Kumawu, that's where it's from.
Only cousins. It's sad, and what can we say at this moment?
That's quite something else. And you know, you made reference to your tenure as a former Minister of Health and all that. You know, if when I read the literature, especially when it comes to health financing, okay, I realize that there's a certain shift to more of the preventive.
Yes.
Because the literature suggests that when there's a focus on the preventive and there's some investment in the preventive, it will ultimately cut down the expenditure on health financing. Even the need for infrastructure at the pace that is needed. And also the fact that curative, some literature suggests, could be 5 to 6 times more than the preventive. Absolutely. So it looks like, from a strategic point of view, in many jurisdictions, there is a strong focus, even for the countries that have their infrastructure, have the human capital, you know, have the financial resources. They have, on the basis of research and data, realized that, look, they need to focus a lot more on that. So even in workplaces, you know, you spoke about the kind of work they do, and for some of us, we jokingly say that we are pressure plates because of what we do, you know. But in this country, when something is not legislated and is left to our own, devices and all that, we decide to treat things the way we want them done, you know. And I am sure that we would have a lot of very literate people who even ought to understand this, who maybe for the last 5 years or 10 years have not had a thorough medical checkup, unless they have one medical condition or the other which requires a certain So for maybe even a place like Parliament, yes, it could not be compulsory, but should they institutionalize it?
Yes.
You understand me? That maybe periodically, twice every year, those things should be done, so that at least you are aware. I mean, for those who work, if you're an Article 71 person, apart from all those other perks, what's the point in the perks when you have to perhaps lose all that or use all that in So it looks like we ought to take this
very seriously.
Very seriously. I don't know if during your tenure, this issue about the preventive as against the curative and the strategy and the balance came up.
It's been on our books for a long time. And, you know, it has become, if you look at the countries where people have higher life expectancy, like the Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans, there are a number of things that are clear, which we can just simply do. Randy, what stops Metro TV or a ministry from saying that when you get to work at 10 o'clock in the morning, everybody should walk from the front of the gate to the wall 3 times before you come and sit down, and you are marked. Just walk 3 times and come and sit down. You're doing it every day because you won't do any other walking. Office, sit down, do your work, to car to home, home to. Those who even have to take public transport are doing more exercise than others. What stops you? You remember when we were growing up, the Chinese and the Japanese, all the workforce will come out. They have to do some form of exercise, leg raises and what, before they start work. And this is first thing in the morning. So exercise is key. We never have time. But if it's compulsory, we do. And I'm not saying exercise and sweat or whatever. No. Just move your limbs. Move up and down. And they should make it compulsory. Then you are saying twice a year. I would say no. Once a month, you should have your pressure taken.
Now I was just talking about the comprehensive test.
Yeah, the comprehensive one, twice a year, fine. Yes. But we should have our pressure taken, and they should test your sugar once you're over 50. Those two, they should try and do it once a month, once a quarter, so that at any given time, you can begin to see shifts in people's pressure readings, and it becomes an issue that can be addressed earlier. As you said, it's much cheaper. Preventive is much cheaper than curative. And our diets, this late night eating that we do, because you can't get time to eat in the afternoon, so in the night, we then come have our main meal. And that is the one thing that we have to find a way to eat in the afternoon and know what you are eating. So our soups are normally fine, even though some will say no with the Maggi cube and all that. But look, our soups are generally good. It's the carbo that we add to it. That's the size of the fufu, the size of the banku, the size of the eba, etc. that we have to watch. But it's like I'm happy I'm seeing you eating fruit. Fruit in the morning is good, and it's actually the best time to eat fruit. Fruit in the day doesn't help. So the first thing, normally you want fruit in the morning, and then stay away from it if you have a propensity towards sugar, because it has a quick high sugar intake. So I think there's a lot we can say about it, but it still doesn't bring him back to life for now. It's just we all have to watch ourselves. It's a lesson to us. We have to start taking preventive action.
Whenever I say PENDREAM TV, PENDREAM TV, dear, I see them,